And I say this to a lot of leaders in our industry. We are the industry of opportunity. Let's start with that. We're the one that you can start with nothing. I'm one of those people, by the way. I started with nothing, actually negative. And with a little luck and a little skill and a little hard work and passion, it's worked out to be a phenomenal story.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Franchise. As always, I'm your host, Paul Ehlinger, and today I'm super excited. I've got a fellow Mizzou alumni near Kansas City, where I'm from, Scott Redler. Thanks for joining the show today.
Oh, great to be here.
And for those who don't know, I think I've known about you for a while now, just because I went to your restaurants when I was younger. Who are you, and how the heck did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Mizzou grad, hotel restaurant management, great program.
Yeah.
And underrated. And have been in the industry now for 50, just hit 50 years, which is hard to even think about. I've worked in everything from fine dining, 4-star, 5-star restaurants, all the way fast casual, hospital cafeterias, everything in between. Every facet of the industry I've been involved in at one stage of my life, winning and losing on some of them. So
have you found you're better at one stage than the other? Like, are those losses in the same vertical?
It's a perfect question. So when you do something that doesn't work, what you do is say goodbye to it. Sure. When you do something that does work, I call it the lather, rinse, repeat.
Sure.
Just like Freddy's, where we sold it with 400 locations about 5 years ago, and a ton of fun. Both were educational. My first ultimate failure was a fast food Chinese restaurant, similar to Panda Express. Oh, that'll never work. And my wife calls that my master's degree, and it truly was.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I think there's nothing better than learning by doing. I mean, it's just so much better to be in the weeds and just actually go take those losses as you're going.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, I think one of the things I think about specifically with Freddy's, because that's the one I'm most familiar with as having been to a few of them, it's always consistent. It's always a good experience. When you go to Freddy's, you get what you get, and it's a good thing. How do you control that? And how do you kind of push that, early on so that when you do get to that 300, 400, 500 units, that, awesome experience is still there for the guests?
Well, first, I think that anybody that opens a restaurant and before they open, they go, they're going to franchise, is making a big mistake. I mean, you've got to execute and get a restaurant right and never even think about franchising. We never did with Freddy's. Our goal was to open one. And then the lazy guys that we are, Bill and Randy and I, were tired of driving from East Wichita to West Wichita. And the location became available on Rock Road, about 5 minutes from our house instead of a whopping 18 minutes. And that's what really
Kansas doesn't have a lot of traffic. For anybody who's not been to Kansas, it's
and everything is 1 mile. All the roads are 1 mile apart. The major roads are 1 mile apart. It's farmland. And although we have 600,000 people in our DMA, so let's not under it. But when you look at it strategically, the thought process behind doing things the right way to get a consistent product, and I always said that, and I've actually written the chapters. I don't think I'll ever write the book, but the book would be called The Power of Consistency.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to execute. When you get a double cheeseburger or a jalapeno steak burger in Cincinnati, Ohio, Wichita, Kansas, or Philadelphia, it's got to be the same.
Yeah.
And you've got to set up the processes and procedures so that you've got the best chance for winning, and it does work. And then the way the equipment's laid out, everything makes a difference. Fries are the last thing to go on the plate or in the bag for drive-through. And there's nothing better than fresh, hot, perfectly seasoned fry. And you actually grab one before you leave the counter.
Everybody does,
pull away from the drive-through, right? And if you win on that, you win.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think the attention to detail is like something to call out there. I'm curious, as you transitioned into Mokas in 23, and you kind of bring up, rinse, lather, repeat. How much of that was the same playbook versus what were the nuances you found that, maybe you were surprised by when you kind of stepped into the president role there?
So the great thing is that Jason Ingermanson, the owner of JRI, the main principal, is a great friend of mine, and he runs for Freddy's for my brother. Mm-hmm. And my brother and I have always wanted to work together. We never have.
Yeah.
And Jason hires my brother, who was just retiring, and goes, "Hey, Scott, why don't you help out too? And help me make this a little more franchisable." And we just had a blast with it. And I think the critical thing with the franchisor is erring on the side of the franchisee, making sure that when you make a decision, there's no secondary motive
Sure.
for that decision. And like, for example, Freddy's under our regime, there was never any back end dollars on anything. We wanted, if we told you to buy a certain fryer, it was because it was the best fryer for you to buy.
Sure. There was no, you're taking a cut because you got to deal with the manufacturer or anything like that.
Same thing on food. We wanted, whether it's burgers, fries, shortening, custard, everything had to be the right product to properly represent and promote the brand. And when you start varying from that, I think you start losing.
Yeah, and that makes a ton of sense. And I'm curious, I think one of the things that strikes me is, I mean, you were at Freddy's for over 20 years, yeah? From start to finish there.
From the first recipes being done in my house, in my kitchen, and my wife going, "You're going to redo the kitchen now that you used it as a commercial kitchen. It's an expensive venue." It paid off.
Yeah. I'm curious, how did you have to evolve, over the course of that time? Because I think I'm a big proponent of the fact that the team you have when you're, for us, I'm a technology guy, so we've built some technology companies, and who you are at the beginning of a company is really different than when you have 10 employees, 100 employees, 1,000 employees. How did you go across that journey yourself of just like leveling yourself up, or acknowledging like, man, I really got to hire somebody to take care of this because I suck at this?
Well, Paul, first of all, you're the first one that's ever asked me that question. And I speak to a lot of groups over the last 10 years. It's a great question.
Thanks.
I think you evolve as a leader, you evolve to understand the value of everyone around you. It doesn't matter whether you're selling widgets, car tires, or whatever. I just recently had tires replaced at a dealership, and I walked out of there going, I was blown away. Hey, buddy, they're tires. Okay, I get it. But they did exactly what they said they were going to do in the time frame they did. They were very professional. And I sent a note to the CEO of that company thanking him for that. Yeah. And so when you think about that, it's the same thing. We've got to understand that when we have a chief development officer, chief marketing officer, CFO, whatever the position is, all the way down to franchise business coaches, they have to be the right personality, the right culture. Culture is something that can take years to build, and you can destroy it in 5 minutes. Yeah. And I think that having people with the same passion and culture that you have really makes a difference. And that's the beauty of Mokas. Yeah. Jason understands it. Jason wants to do things. At Freddy's, we used to call it the Freddy's way. I guess we don't have to pay a consultant to call it the Mokas way, which we did for Freddy's, but which is great. But the Mokas way is just doing it the right way, whether it's design of the restaurant, the size of the restaurant, number of seats, cooking processes, taking care of your team, facility, food product. Everything should be done with a long-term goal in mind. And when you do it that way, you win.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm curious your take. I think one of the things I see amongst founders, I feel the threads myself, is early on it's your baby, right? And you feel like, oh, wow, for us to be perfect, I've got to go make sure we execute. It's kind of like the Steve Jobs way, right? Of like, he's going to dictate every decision and he's going to do this. I think the more experienced I get, and you're decades more experienced than I am, I'm just like, I would rather go hire somebody that's way better than me and just trust them. Did you experience a similar transition, or what was that like as you start letting go of your baby a little bit as it grows beyond you?
So am I a micromanager? Let's see here. Okay, great question.
I think it's because part of it's micromanaging, but I think a part of it's just like an obsession with the result, right? And so it's a nuance, I think.
Yeah, so I think at the beginning the answer was I want to know every detail, and I don't care if we're buying toilet paper strategically. Do you want the big rolls or the little rolls, right? And every one of those, even the hand soap, I get into this spiel on the hand soap in restrooms on which ones we should use and why. Yeah. I don't like the packets of hand soap because when it's empty, it's like saying no to a guest.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's the kind of things that are strategic decisions. So to go back to your question, I think I learned, I don't remember when I learned this, but I learned a while back and have actually been criticized on this in other organizations. When you're in a room discussing something, it's hard, but as a leader, you have to be the one to be quiet. Yeah. Let everyone talk. And if you're the last one to say something, you're going to win. And if somebody says your idea, even though you're thinking the same thing, you go, hey, Paul, that's a great idea. Go for it. Yeah. And you give the credit to that person. even if you spark them to think of it earlier, it's fine. You're not looking for credit; you're looking for result,
Yeah.
and that's how you win.
Yeah, no, I like the nuance, but I also I relate to the soap dispenser thing. You know, I feel like you've got to be opinionated to go start a company, and so that it's hard to not do that every day.
You know what? It's funny the details on certain things, and I'm not quite that way at home, but close. I'm a car guy, and I want things done the right way with cars.
Yeah,
And you won't get in my car. It's never going to be dirty, by the way.
yeah,
Cars, but it's just how you think you want things done the right way. It works
hmm
better, and
yeah,
the ultimate focus is taking care of your team and taking care of your guests. Make
yeah.
guest-driven decisions, make team member-driven decisions, and don't worry about yourself, and you're going to win.
Yeah, I think that resonates. I think I love hearing like you're saying, I take this level of detail to my personal life. I think so much of being a good leader is doing the thing, right? Like you have to unironically every day live by what you're doing. And my belief is that every weird idiosyncrasy you have is actually what separates you from the rest and what gives you an opportunity to win. Do you carry that same idea where it's like I've got to be the most true version of Scott Redler possible, and that is what makes me win in this context?
Well, you know what? So I'm on one board, and recently the leader of that board texted me after the meeting and said, "I want you to always be who you are and say
Yeah.
what you feel like you did at the last meeting." And I was critical about something.
Hmm.
I believe I was right. Whether I was or not, who knows?
TBD.
But you want someone to feel free enough to express their opinion and really resonate that way. I mean, you don't want to be sitting here going, "Well, that person in front saying something and I disagree,"
Hmm.
and not say anything. Go home, go, "Oh, I can't believe they said that." Nothing happened. You've
Yeah.
got to be able to express if you know the right way or you think you know the right way. You've got to at least express your opinion, and whether it goes that way or not, so be it.
Yeah.
But you've got to express your opinion.
Yeah. No, it makes a ton of sense. You touched on it right before then, kind of referring to your customers as valued guests, right? I'm curious how you balance that with scale because I think you see it all the time. People inevitably will make a trade off, right? And some of that's probably by necessity. Some of that's maybe by choice to save a couple cents per transaction. You know, is there a time you ever are willing to make a sacrifice, or is it always, every decision that's being made is does this treat them as a valued guest?
You know, I'm going to say every decision I've ever made has been to value the guest. I
Hmm.
think you have to have a balance there and understand it. If something saves you a gazillion dollars and
Yeah, you can reinvest that into the guest experience elsewhere.
making changes to product packaging, um, the whole brand image,
Hmm.
I think if you go into it with the attitude that everything a guest touches,
Hmm.
sees, smells, feels, is an impact to the guest,
Yeah,
if you understand that, it works. And when I look at that, I go, okay, look at Freddy's, definitely thought that way. We changed the trays. We could
yeah,
use plastic trays, but every guest is touching a tray.
yeah,
If you get it's a quality image thing, right?
yeah,
Uh, then again, on the other side, are we okay using fiberglass panels that look like tile on the walls? Yes.
sure.
Guest cares and doesn't. You got to make those decisions, and as a
Yeah.
leader, you get to get your team together and make those decisions.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's interesting, and I think I'm curious. So I've never personally ran a company for multiple decades, so I'm curious. I think something we that drives us is when we're young and small. We're a small startup technology company here. It's the urgency, right? Like we can feel the urgency because everything's new, everything's bigger than it was last month. Once you get 10, 15, 20 years into a brand, like what are you using to drive motivation amongst the team?
I think the message has to be laser focused.
Hmm.
And I'm going to say the message is sales drive profit. And
Hmm.
then the next three should be sales drive profit, sales drive profit, sales drive profit.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't save your way to profitability or to be a phenomenal company. The ones that do well, you look at the leaders in our industry, who's the number one drive through restaurant in the country by almost double?
It's got to be McDonald's, presumably, or Starbucks, or
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Oh, by by volume, yeah.
Dollars in volume. They just do things um, to drive sales. Those are
Yep.
their decisions are based that way, and they are double. Think about that for a minute. Double what anyone else does. And I've been
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A corporate headquarters. I've learned a little about their culture. It was phenomenal.
Hmm.
They're a great organization.
Yeah.
And you look at the ones that are focused, that do things the right way, the Freddy's way, the Mokas way, and understand that that's what drives guest satisfaction and team member satisfaction. And you're not trying to make go to the cheapest paper cup or
Sure.
you're trying to take care of the guests and make them when they think about where they want to get a burger, where they want to get a cup of coffee or a breakfast sandwich or
Hmm.
a Reuben, they're going to go to Mocha's.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so because we do it the right way consistently every day.
How much do you think the consumer has changed over time? And to add a little more clarity to that question, I think something I've noticed is there's like this larger cultural zeitgeist of like, oh, private equity's in, and so now the quality is going to go down, right? I think people are becoming more and more aware of like how the economics of these large brands operate. Um, how do you think that consumer has evolved to see and feel that, right? Where they're like, they are more intentional in saying, man, I feel like the value's not here anymore. I'm going to go here instead. Have you experienced that?
100%.
Yeah.
The consumer absolutely notices that and notices the changes that are made.
Mm,
A lot of times they won't say anything, but instead of going twice a month, they're going to go once every 4 months.
sure.
And there's private equity that goes both directions on that.
Hmm.
Another topic with the consumer, uh, our guests as we call them,
Mm.
is the value component.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's a big one the last 3 years, right?
And I don't. It is hard for me when I go out and
Hmm.
to see what you spend in certain places, and you're going, man, that was a lot of money,
Oh,
right?
it's shocking, right? And you're like, I could have just made this at home for a tenth of the cost or whatever the heck it is, you know?
And so I think I think that's shifting again to the value. To guests are looking for more value.
Yeah.
It'll make it a little more challenging for our industry. During COVID, you could charge what you needed. It's almost like COVID was almost like vacation dollars. When you're on vacation, you don't really pay attention to your dollars like you normally do, right?
Yeah,
So
because I think everybody was in a different state of mind, right? And they were making buying decisions differently.
your $8 soda costs $8, you move on.
Yep.
COVID had a little bit of that in it. That is absolutely gone.
Yep.
Our guests, our consumer, they need to feel, if they go to Mocha's and spend $12 for
Hmm.
lunch, they better have a lunch that they thought should have been 16,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they got some value there. So I think that's critical.
Yeah, I'm also curious, with there's this large movement, and it feels kind of across aisle around like, hey, let's get rid of seed oils. There's this like we want to be healthier, we care about the what's in the ingredients and all of that. As somebody running companies like this, how does that impact you? How do you think forwardly, of like where do we need to meet the consumer on this? Where maybe do we not need to meet the guest on this? Or does it affect day to day change?
I think the healthy food component's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And can you name any large healthy food restaurant chains out there?
I mean, maybe Chipotle could call themselves that, right? Just because it looks like whole food on there. Maybe Kava, and then like the greens, salad spots, I guess, but no major ones, right?
And even those, so I think hitting on those three was perfect because all three of those have options to eat healthy if the guest wants it.
100%. Yeah.
That doesn't mean the guest is going to dine that way or will dine that way. I
Sure.
still remember running upscale seafood restaurants with phenomenal flying fish in every day, the whole bit. And somebody goes, "Yeah, I'm trying to watch what I eat. I've been eating at your restaurant a lot." I go, "What do you get?"
Yeah.
Fries, man. And so the consumer,
And you're just like, what am I doing flying in this swordfish?
they're talking. The guests, our guests, they'll talk healthy, and then they walk in the restaurant and they're craving something different,
Sure.
and they'll go that direction. I think it's totally a balanced thing of having the options on the menu,
Hmm.
and the guests can make their own decision. People are responsible for their own decisions.
Yeah, yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. I'm curious because I group Freddy's into this group. I think sure other people do. So Cracker Barrel, right, recently goes through the logo change, all of that. They get a massive cultural pushback. They change back. I was talking to the president of A&W, so another brand I'd group into that, right?
Yes.
Like there's this old school vibe. She was like, "Man, tough situation because they had the data to support it." I'm curious with Freddy's because for me, like being regional to that, it feels like that type of a brand, right? Like I can remember it for as long as I can remember restaurants for. How do you think about that? How do you think about modernizing alongside your consumer versus being true to the brand values that you set, 15, 20, 30 years ago?
Well, so first of all, Cracker Barrel, I read something online a couple days ago that the new logo, like a lot of it was generated with AI.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so
Jeez.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I didn't see that, but man, that's a hit piece coming out after
You know what?
that.
It was on the internet. It must be true. Anyway, but I'm not sure that's true. I have a hard time believing it was true. But
Yeah.
when you look at it, Freddy's changed the logo one time.
Hmm.
Mokas, we changed the logo almost right after I took over
Interesting.
as president. It went from Mokas Cafe, Mokas. There'd been a couple different things. Mokas Coffee.
Yeah.
Now it's Mokas Coffee and Eatery. I mean,
Okay.
your title, your brand has to represent who the guest thinks you are. So here's a good example of that.
Hmm.
Freddy's at the beginning, our logo was a huge frozen custard cone.
Sure.
We'd open a restaurant in the market and we'd sell 40% custard, 60% food.
Yeah.
And as a restaurant matured, it would shift to roughly 80 to 85% food,
Yeah.
roughly, and 20% cut. So our logo didn't represent how our guests were seeing us. And we hired a marketing company that assisted us with the new logo. And the new logo was great. And then it shifted even more so as the brand became more aware on a national basis.
Yeah.
On buildings now, you just, instead of seeing Freddy's, frozen custard, and Steakburger, you just see Freddy's.
Yeah. Just Freddy's. Yeah.
But to us, we have, with our Mokas open, our newer location has Mokas Coffee and Eatery. Now we need to go back and change the other ones because that's who we are. And we sell more food in that location, the newer location, which to me is a longer term win when you're building on that. So.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it expands the business overall. Yeah, like that transition needs to happen. I'm curious, bridging into Mokas a little bit. So you're currently transitioning away from president into a board membership there. What does that look like for you in terms of how do you pass the mantle to ensure success in the long run? Because I'm sure that's what everybody is caring about right now, right?
Which is great, Jason. Long as Jason is the original founder. Jason and Lisa founded Mokas 20 something years ago. So. Look, it's not handing the torch off to someone who doesn't know the brand or the passion. It's someone like Jason who knows it, gets it, and
loves it,
and also owns it. So he's able to make great long-term decisions.
Yeah,
as I did with Jason. That's the beauty of our relationship.
That's awesome.
Feel free to tell each other whatever, and then go have a drink and talk about it. And it's a great thing, but it's in great hands, and I'm really excited to see our franchisees. The first franchise location in Kansas City should start construction in the next 30 days. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And I'm curious for you, like, as you're transitioning there, what are you thinking about for the next decade? Like what's to come for you? Do you see yourself doing this? Are you thinking about legacy these days? How has your career focus shifted?
And you know what? I would say the last 5 years, I don't know, probably 40% was nonprofit.
Yeah.
Which now I would say 60 to 65.
Yeah.
I see that continuing. I'm not ready to stop and sit on the beach and read books every day, although that's what we did last summer.
Not a bad summer, right?
Summer was great. But the reality is, you got to keep moving, you got to keep thinking, or you'll fade. And I believe in that. So I'm not done with that. I'm going to continue to help my role with the National Restaurant Association. A couple of years ago, I chaired that, representing 1 million restaurants. A lot of things going on there, helping to keep our restaurants safe, keep the government at the right level where they should be, not doing things that will harm the industry, really. I mean, we're one of the top employers in the country.
100%, yeah.
So my focus will still be on that kind of stuff, and I enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah. I always am curious by this, when it comes to how you think about what you've left behind. Like, I think Freddy's is just such a recognizable name. Like, how meaningful has that been to you in life? Like, was your intent to set out and like leave a mark and do a thing that's going to be there, 50, 100 years from now? / did it just happen?
So our goal with Freddy's was to open one location.
Yeah.
And everybody, oh, no way, Scott. Absolutely. It was, it's a funny story how it all happened, but that's what it was. And the second one opened, and then it went there. And I think the legacy will be, and I say this to a lot of leaders in our industry. We are the industry of opportunity. Let's start with that. We're the one that you can start with nothing. I'm one of those people, by the way. I started with nothing, actually negative, and with a little luck and a little skill and a little hard work and passion, it's worked out to be a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
So understanding that. So what does that mean? Well, my legacy is going to be the number of people that I've affected to the positive that maybe would have been gone a different path in life. The person who started with us at Freddy's as a line cook and now owns 5 Freddy's or 15 Freddy's or whatever, living on the house on the hill and great lifestyle and family. To me, that's the true reward.
Yeah.
The number one day in my career absolutely was the day after we sold Freddy's. Yeah. And everybody that was a major part in Freddy's, we gave a deal bonus.
That's awesome.
And it was actually, I had the funny part. I'm in there telling somebody what her number was.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And my wife walked in, and we had glass partitions. And Betsy walks in the office, and she goes, "What did you say to her?" Betsy, I was just telling her what you got for her deal bonus. Okay. So now you know who wears the pants in our family, right?
Hey, I follow my wife around. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I think it's the way to go.
37 years married. Yes,
37
is the most important 2 words.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, hey, we're here now. A question I always love to ask leaders: how do you balance it? Is there balance? Is there seasons? Because I think about this a lot. My wife and I both own our businesses, so we both are very busy people. And we're 5 years into a marriage, so I've got 32 years of knowledge I can take from you here. How did you make it work over time? Because it does take a lot of time to build something meaningful.
It's all your thought process. I don't believe I ever missed a significant kid event with my 2 daughters.
That's awesome.
Ever. And because it was that important to me. And there's, you've got people that work for you. You got to let them do their job at times. And sometimes you can't be there.
Yep.
Okay, get over it. The first 100 Freddy's, I went to 97 openings.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Fun. I mean, American Airlines loves me.
I was gonna say, we're in the premier club on whichever.
I walk in Marriott, they go, "Hi, Scott." It's great, and so I travel a lot and still like to, and for different reasons. But to me, it's understanding and prioritizing as you should the balance of life.
Yeah. No, I think it makes sense. Like the things that are important will get your attention, and it's up to you to decide what's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I honestly, I love wrapping it on that one. Moving into our next section, it's just kind of quick hitters. The idea is give us 10 seconds, 15 seconds, of a response, if that sounds good to you, Scott.
Sure.
First one, always love to ask, most misunderstood aspect of scaling a restaurant. Like, what did you not know once you got into it all?
I think people is focusing on people and understanding that that's really what it's all about. It doesn't matter whether it's tacos, burgers, pizza, it doesn't matter. Get the right people, and when you have the right people, you win. When you have the wrong people, you lose.
Yeah. Is there a trend in restaurants or hospitality right now that you think is overhyped? That people just don't have the longevity of scale to know that this is not a real thing right now?
Well, you talked about healthy, and that I think people are going to talk about that forever. It's overhyped. It's not what the consumers are craving.
Yeah.
They're craving a balance of that, not to be all encompassing.
Yeah, no, makes sense. This one's a little more of a tough one. What's something you've changed your mind about recently? Like somebody's convinced you your opinion was wrong and you shifted it.
God, there was just a topic. I'm having a hard time thinking of it, but there was recently somewhat significant that somebody said, here's why, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I agree with you. So I guess the most important part of that question is that I'm never opposed to listening to both sides of the story and acting correctly. To change your mind if you're wrong, don't say right for right's sake. Right decision.
Yeah, makes sense. And then final one, we've learned a lot about you throughout this episode, but what's something people may not know about you that you'd be willing to share?
So things I like outside of work.
Yeah.
I'm a car guy. Food, wine, and cars are my passion.
Okay. Wait, I've got to ask. So I'm a big wine guy. I'm about to get my first level sommelier certification in November. Amazing. What's your go-to? What do you drink? What's if it's a Tuesday night, you got dinner, you want to pour your favorite glass?
Well, okay, so a Tuesday night would be, so I like to find like Marjoram out of Santa Barbara is one of our favorite wineries. I have
Yeah.
more, it's not distributed to Kansas. I have more coming here tomorrow. Um, for the special occasion, Silver Oak Napa,
Silver Oak hits it. Yeah.
California, probably my top two
Yeah.
for that special night. It's fun to do verticals of those.
Hell yeah.
Um,
I
and
was just at Marjoram in Santa Barbara, actually, randomly out there last year for a friend's wedding. Their Grenache was fantastic.
that's why, so I ordered that. And their
Oh, did
M5
you?
is
Yeah,
reserve is amazing. That's what I have coming.
I didn't try that one. I'll have to
Dave
try that.
Grade, that is, it's a great little winery. And
Mm.
we have friends with the house in Santa Barbara, so we go there often.
Heck yeah.
And great winery.
That's awesome. Wow, we could spend a
The
whole
big
hour.
steak dinner, the big impressive dinner,
Mm.
and you're opening up a Silver Oak Napa. Hard to beat.
Yeah, yeah. There's something about it, like just a bold Napa cab. It's gonna taste exactly like you want it to taste. It's gonna be delicious.
Absolutely.
Love that. Well, yeah, that's a fun conversation. As a good late night show host, I always like to say, you have the podium, Scott. Take the minute. Where should people find you? What do you want people to know? Where's the next Mokas that they should go check out? All that good stuff.
Well, Mocha's now just in Kansas and soon be Kansas City, so definitely give them a try. You'll find me drinking wine or eating at great restaurants around the country, or walking around car dealers looking for the next acquisition. But,
Yeah.
I love helping people, entrepreneurs, help them understand the reality of what it takes to open a business, the trials and tribulations. There's no magic wand to make something work. It takes the hard work, it takes the knowledge, it takes the capital, it takes all the components that you'd expect to win.
Yeah.
And as long as you make and head in the long-term direction, you're going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Scott, this has been an awesome episode. Genuinely, thank you for taking the time. I think a ton of great leadership advice coming out of this. So I really appreciate you kind of bestowing that on us, and just, for taking the time today.
Greatly appreciated. Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody else, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I did. As always, look for the next one coming out shortly. And we appreciate you taking the time on this one. We'll talk to you all soon.